All right, everyone, real quick note here on something called the diamond water paradox. And this confused people for a while because um, are diamonds expensive? Yes, very, very, very expensive. What about water? Water is actually pretty inexpensive. If you look at the, my Monroe County Water Authority bill, my municipal water bill, I think it's like $2.40 for 1,000 gallons, something like that is the marginal cost. There's a hookup fee, right? There's a fixed cost per day as well, but the marginal cost of water is less than a third of a penny per gallon. So it's really, really cheap. And yet, which one is actually really, really important? Which one is essential to our life and health and well-being? Well, water is, right? So why is that? Why, if water is so valuable, why does it cost so little? And diamonds, well, diamonds are forever, I guess, right? But are they really that essential? Unless you have some business, right, that requires cutting, diamonds are not really necessary or essential for most of us. But people like them. All right, so it can all be explained with supply and demand graph and thinking about marginal cost and marginal benefit. So what does the demand for water look like? Well, would you be willing to pay a lot of money for water? If you were in the desert, parched, and someone came along selling a bottle of water for $50 or $100, would you be willing to buy it? Well, maybe, right? The value of some water every day to us is very, very high, right? It's very, very valuable. But that's a small amount of water, right? So a few gallons a day would be enough for us to drink and wash some dishes and brush our teeth, and that's great. Now we have other uses for water, like taking a shower, watering the lawn, right? There are all sorts of things that are also, and we could sort of rank order those, right? Watering the lawn is much less important to me than taking a nice hot shower. But can I, if water was super scarce, could I get by with a really quick shower, every other day or every couple days, if I had to? Yeah. Now, is it nice to stand in there a long time? Sure. But, I can get by with a lot less. But because water is cheap, sometimes we tend to use more of it. So if you rank order them, I need water to drink, a little water to cook with and wash dishes, to brush my teeth, to wash my hands, to take in a shower, to wash clothes, right? You could sort of rank order all of the uses of water, and then filling the kiddie pool, watering the lawn, right? Running the sprinkler just for kids to play in. All of those are really low valued uses. So it turns out that the demand for water probably looks something like this. Right? It's not a straight line demand curve. It starts off really, really high because would be willing to pay a lot. Right? The marginal value of water, of a little bit of water, is very, very high to us, and that's what captures, that the fact that we need liquid, to survive. But a lot of the water that we use is sort of a low valued use, and we wouldn't be willing to pay we wouldn't pay $20 a gallon for water to fill a pool, right? That's just silly. So if the demand for water looks like that, and then what does the supply of water look like? Especially for us, we're fortunate here if you are in the general area, which I know most of you are in the Rochester area. We have a Hemlock Lake, Lake Ontario. There's several places the Water Authority pools water from. We have an abundant source of fresh water here, and so the supply of water is very, very great. Right? And so if the supply of water looks like this, then what happens? If we find the equilibrium, that equilibrium corresponds to a low price and to a large quantity of water. And so the equilibrium price that we pay for water might be very, very low, even though there are points on the demand curve. Let's highlight them up here. There are points on the demand curve, right, where we would pay an awful lot. The marginal benefit to us of that water is very, very high. And so if you were looking for the area of consumer surplus, you would see that there's an awful lot of consumer surplus, right, on those initial units of water. And then the consumer surplus out in here gets much smaller. So there's water. Meanwhile, let's think about diamonds. What does the supply of diamonds look like? Well, diamonds are very, very limited, right? The supply probably looks like this. And what about in fact, maybe I even overstated it. Maybe the supply should be even steeper. Right, so if the supply of diamonds looks like this, what's our demand for diamonds look like? Well, it's nice. Some people, if you have the wealth and you can afford them, they are beautiful. They're a symbol. That there's definitely demand for them. But is your first diamond worth as much to most people as that first glass of water a day? Well, probably not. But there's still a demand for diamonds. And let's say it looks like this, then you end up with a fairly high price for diamonds and a very small equilibrium quantity of diamonds sold. And so diamonds are very expensive and water is very cheap, even though the actual value of water, at least of the initial glasses of water or gallons of water per day, are much more valuable than for diamonds. And so that is the diamond water paradox. You can now explain why diamonds are expensive and water is cheap, even though water seems to be more important.